We're not being very jocular at all.
Turn my mic back on so you can hear me breathing. Heavy breathing and synthesizers.
Did we ever talk
Sunday
about that
mornings.
on the show? Oh, we should.
That's the topic of the day. The topic of the day is heavy breathing and synthesizers.
Come on,
Oh no, the video is reversed for everybody. I thought it was just for me.
Oh shit!
Gonna be a good day.
How would you say that? How?
Yeah. Ta et ka. I don't even know how to talk in reverse, but that'd be something fun. That'd be a fun skill to try. Like if you could speak in reverse, and if somebody recorded it and played it back, it would sound roughly like what you're trying to say.
That's very Twin Peaks.
Here, let me do nothing. I have nothing. You know what? Let's turn up some resonance here.
Yeah.
Two.
Come on, we need 5 people breathing really loudly.
Alright, whatever, that's good enough. I'm sure people have heard music before. Welcome to What the Heck! It's Sunday morning somewhere. Maybe not. Is it Sunday in Australia? I don't know anymore. Or at the North Pole, that'd be a good question as to what day it is, but... yeah, what the ASMR this week. We all have good microphones, good audio. Everything worked. We were on time.
Something is gonna go wrong.
Right, so the mirrored video, which I still need to fix. How do I do this again? I was so excited because I was like, mirror camera, this is great. I can fix my hat now. But it mirrored it for everybody. Thank you, Restream. This podcast is brought to you by Restream. Never mind, it's not. Okay, we have people whose names you can't read. Hold on. Participants name. There we go. All right. We have a lot of people. We have Ising, Forrestine, Kyle, and Ben of Brown. I don't know why I couldn't read Ben of Brown's name, but, you know. Welcome, everybody. Let's do super fast intros. So who are you, and what do you do with the empty boxes your modules come in?
Shall I start?
Somebody needs to start.
Yes, Ben, you start because you're that way.
I'm Ben, and I keep my empty module boxes in my empty case boxes. So
Your empty. That's really smart. So
yeah.
your Eurorack case comes in a big box, which I had never thought of
Exactly.
until right this second because I've never purchased one. And then you just put all the boxes in there. That's the perfect case. It's a box of boxes. It's kind of meta too. What about you, Ising?
Yeah, I'm Ising. I have a problem with the empty boxes. They are all over this tiny room I'm in. I can reach wherever I want. And there's a box. And I have boxes with boxes in here, and I have no idea what to do with them, and I need serious help.
Forrestine.
We should probably also all say where we are from, because everybody is actually from a different place this time.
Oh yeah, let's back up, Ben. You can just say general area.
Yeah, so I'm in Yorkshire in the UK.
Yeah, I'm in Oslo in Norway.
Yes.
I'm in Canada. And
Yes.
it's cold.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to introduce myself, though.
Yeah.
I have just a big paper bag full of module boxes. I did not keep the box that my case came in because it was humongous.
Oh yeah. But what if you need to ship it again? Anyway. And Kyle.
Yep. Is my sound okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm Kyle. I work at Signal Sounds. I keep my boxes like out of habit, so I keep the packaging, the box, the screws, the cable, and then I put it inside and use other things. Because obviously at work, when we put them into the demo rack, it has to
Yeah.
go back in stock at some point. So yeah,
That makes
keep
sense.
everything.
That's really cool. And makes a lot of sense. I'm Hex 7. I'm in Colorado and in the USA, and I generally scatter them around. Like I have some in the garage next to my workshop, like some that I think look really cool. Like there's a Cockpit 2 box somewhere off camera just to my right that has I don't know if it's a stamp or a screen print of an airplane on it. It looks like a stamp because it's pretty lo-fi,
Yeah.
or like maybe they like use printer paper or something. But that one I think is pretty cool. But generally I keep them because I at least with the Eurorack modules, I'm like, maybe I might want to sell it one day. So it's just a convenience thing. So there's also the boxes that the boxes come in. I don't know if you've experienced this, but they want their like nice looking module boxes to look nice when you take them out of the other box that was shipped in. And they're like slightly bigger. Those get recycled almost immediately.
Yeah, I recycle them.
I should,
And
but I also appreciate it a lot when I buy a used model and it comes in the original box. I appreciate
Yes.
that a lot, and I want to keep that going.
It gives you that like new module feel. I don't know. It adds a little bit of the excitement when you get that full
does, yeah.
experience. So yeah, I also appreciate that. And so far that's been the case. Like I don't outside of the 2 HP modules, I don't think any of my modules have been new. Maybe the Ikery because it's a fairly new module, but I don't remember anymore. But I always appreciate it.
I'm always shocked when I buy a new module and it still has the stickers in it because life is too short not to use the sticker. So half of me is like, what is wrong with this person? And the other half is happy that I get the sticker.
Yeah, I love the sticker. I have a huge sticker collection, which we could talk about maybe on a future episode, because really it's out of control. I just don't put them on anything. Like I put stickers on my vehicle, and that's about it. Like I really should just like coat the back of these in stickers to offset some weight, but I haven't yet. And then I don't get to see them, so I don't know. I love the stickers though. There's 2 stickers in particular I really like. One's upstairs. Like I have the Studio Electronics sticker, even though I don't have the machine anymore. And then there's one upstairs that is for, I think it's from the company I got the Rat PCB from or something, but it's like, it just says, it's just like a big peace symbol sort of, and it says like 10 thumbed no talent noise pollution or something in a big circle. Anyway, it spoke to me, so I love that one.
I put some on my luggage last time I was traveling.
Yes, and I actually just got a hard case for a guitar, so I'm really excited to maybe put stickers on that. That feels appropriate for stickers.
Yes, for sure.
Laptop lid. Yeah, I have a ton of laptop lids with stickers. Even this one's like falling off, so I'll just pull it off. This one doesn't have as many yet because I haven't done as many, but we got a look on the computer and a two-tone gravity recharge sticker on there, but that'll be loaded up eventually. I like putting them on a case instead of a lid, but that's a different thing. Because when I get rid of the laptop, I don't want to lose all my stickers. This way I can just like keep the lid. That's how much I like stickers.
I can't show you my laptop because I'm using it.
Yeah, that's conundrum. And Robbie, yeah, keeping boxes. Yeah, I mean, I mostly keep the boxes that I really like. There's a couple boxes I think I've tossed because I know, like, I think the 2 HP no pass filter, like, I'm probably not ever going to sell that because it's a perfect module. And it'll probably never break. So, yeah. Well, we started talking a little bit before we went live. There's a lot of things to talk about today. First things first, Ising, is this better or worse than hanging out at 4 a.m.?
Mostly better, I'd say. I may not be as sharp because I'm not so caffeine filled as I would have been at 4 a.m. But I think I have more capacity to sort of understand what you're saying to me and not just thinking that I need to not fall asleep on air.
I don't recall you being in danger of that, but that would have been a highlight for sure. Probably highlight reel worthy.
Yeah.
What the heck? So entertaining. The guests fall asleep midway through the show. Second thing, your stand was super wobbly. Hey, dog. That's my actual dog, not
Yeah,
like
it's
a
super
person.
wobbly. It's the worst stand I've ever experienced, but it was in my basement. It's just a normal keyboard stand.
Is it
run-of-the-mill.
that one of the feet isn't touching the ground?
I'm not sure actually. It seems like it's sort of touching, but it may just be a little off level or something like that.
Yeah, so there's these like wooden wedges you can get.
Yeah.
Or some are plastic. I like the wooden ones because they're grippier. That's what I use because this entire room is not level. And obviously with like this, that's already by nature tippy. I want to make sure it's not. So that's what I'm using. I just jam a few of these
kind
up
of
there.
it's kind of an suboptimal solution. It's not meant to be on a keyboard stand for sure. This thing,
Right.
It even has small rubber legs under it that's not touching anything. So I've been thinking for a while to just get just a sheet of wood that would just fit the dimensions of the base of it and just put it there, just to give it a little bit more stability. And then I thought, okay, it could be cool then if you could just swing out something here and have a keyboard on it here with a hinge system or something like that. But then I went into overthinking mode. It got nothing done.
I have dozens of sketches of building stands for this, and I'm still using an IKEA like nightstand. So, yeah.
My table that I use is really sinky in the middle. Like it's not from the weight. It's just warped. I use small books off my bookshelf to make everything straight.
Small bookshelf.
Just books.
Yeah.
Just small books.
Books.
Mine's pretty solid, but I did just remember. I don't know if you can see it. There's a folded up rail ticket just in the back corner.
There's a what?
So just in here, there's a folded up rail.
Oh, to keep it from wobbling.
Yeah. Other than that, it's very solid, really.
Yeah, I have a few of those type things, and actually mine, because they're custom built, I put rubber feet on the bottom of them, and all of the plywood I've ever used is extremely warped, which doesn't make great cases, by the way. But it means like some of the feet, like on this one, it's just touching the wood, right? Just a little rubber feet. This one's got like a stack of like drilled quarters, and this one's got like some washers that are like a 1/4 inch thick. Yeah. Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
To make things sort
I
of
usually
level.
think it's not a problem really, but it is when some of the DOFA modules have really tight jack sockets. So when I really have to push against it, it tips over if there's nothing behind me here.
Oh yeah, and I can't. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I have to, with the TACAP dual LPG, it's really good, but the jacks are really tight, so I do tend to just put a hand behind while I'm pushing it in.
Yep. I have to do that. Like they're 1/4 inch sockets, most of them. So like, if I just pull on them, especially the ones way up here where there's more leverage, very sketchy if I don't, brace the whole thing. I can't do the one-handed removal.
Did you ever find those stickers for vending machines?
No, I haven't yet, but that the do not tip sticker is on the top of my to make list. Like I'm just gonna make a really like legit looking one with an Easter egg of some sort on it. Bunk desks. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking bunk desks, like bunk Eurorack setups, right? But with a bunk chair, like that'd be so awkward. Like you're like trying to patch, like, hey, stop kicking me.
I would fall off.
If the player on the bottom stands up, the whole thing falls over. Yeah. Today is thought.
What if you
Bunk
drop something on the
chairs.
floor, forget you're on the upper desk, and go to pick it up?
Sorry, my dog was looking concerned because he trapped himself in the room on accident. Oh man, I want a bunk chair now. That sounds fun.
A lifeguard
Carpet.
chair.
Carpet. How many of you are on carpet? Does that matter?
I have carpet on one side and not on the other, so one of my feet is always slightly higher than the other when I'm streaming.
Oh yeah, that would bother me very slightly, but honestly, I've got a rug in the middle of the room. Let's see, I don't even know if it's on the camera. Point it more down. Yeah, rug, cement, standing desk thingy. and I'm never completely on any of them at any given point in time.
Yeah, same.
Because, walking around and stuff. But I will say, if you're standing a lot, those like standing pads that you get for like kitchens or workshops are worth every penny. Use the links in the description to get our affiliate code, just whatever. Cement woo. Yeah, so I'm thinking about moving upstairs, and there's carpet, and that probably won't happen until early next year, but I don't know if I love the carpet. Is the thing.
But no more pipes. They're part of the ambiance.
There will be ambiance. Don't worry. The thing I'm going to miss the most is my friend right there, Wilson. The washing machine. Actually, that's the dryer, but I keep calling it the washing machine. Anyway, I think I'll miss that the most in the background, so I'll have to figure something out. Maybe I'll just print out a life-size poster of it. But yeah, I'm okay not being next to the boiler and all that, because like it gets really cold here as well, and the thought of things freezing and breaking is terrifying at this point. Not for fiscal reasons, more for like I don't want to have to build this again reasons. All right. Do any of y'all have any topics you want to cover? I wrote down a few things that Ising brought up before, but Forrestine, what do you got?
I'm borrowing a DFAM, and I really like it. And
Yes.
the end.
Thank you, Benjamin. On behalf of Forrestine, we really appreciate it. It's super cool. The DFAM is so cool.
It's so fun. And I like it's much friendlier than other ways I've been trying to learn drum patterns. And like it just wants to be used and just is already doing something, and I like that.
Yes, and I even just like minimal patching with it, like even no patching, you can just like go crazy like with the parameters turning off and on drums and like figuring things out. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I found it it's very fun to patch with my Eurorack stuff. Like I immediately started patching into it. Yeah. It's kind of odd, and I'm like, I think my last stream I finally felt like it kind of sounded like something that I would make with it. So it's taking a while, but it's fun.
Cool. I mean, that's cool. Ways you make and use percussive sounds. I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, we could
I'll
talk
get back
about
to it.
that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, let's just do it. Ways to
Yeah.
make percussive sounds.
Keep writing things down forever and never talk about anything.
It's like what Seinfeld was the show about nothing, but instead we just promise to talk about things and never do. That's what keeps people coming back.
We touched on percussion a little bit last time I was here.
Yeah.
And I was complaining a little bit about my setup with the 2 pico drums and my bass drum module, and I thought that felt a bit limiting or just not big enough compared to what you get in like you have the drum brute impact with its 9, 8, 10, 15, 16 sounds.
That is several different numbers of possible sound.
Yeah, I hoped somebody would correct me with.
Well, I don't know the drum brute. I have the
Yeah.
impact. The drum brute I think has double what I have. So it went to
Okay.
It has like 18 or something.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. So I have like 5 with this stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing I tried out because I've realized, and that we talked about that last time as well, that I suck at drum programming, and it's really hard. But there's
It's really hard.
It is really hard, but I found several things that helped me with the patch I streamed yesterday. One of them, I was just listening to some random electronic music, and that I had found through like a Pitchfork review. I was like, oh, this is one of the best electronics of 2021. Can't remember what the name was, but I noticed that the drum section was quite not 4 to the floor and hardly used any hats or at all, or was just using sort of low tomish sounds. So I instead of trying to do that on this tiny LL8 I have here, which is just the tiniest drums you can imagine, I took my good old BeatStep Pro out and tried to sort of get it in a bigger sort of scale, and that helped me a lot. It really helped me a lot not to think of it as trying to recreate like standard beat things with like I need to have an open and a closed hat. I need to have like a snare that does like this and this and this, and then I just experimented with like pitches instead. So I have one sound that is a little bit higher than the other one. Okay, what can I do to make that interesting? And I just experimented my way into something that worked.
I find it really stressful thinking about trying to make sounds that actually sounds like things.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like, well, also my partner is a drummer, and so he's just always like, that doesn't sound like that. And I'm like, so I like to be able to make percussion that doesn't sound like anything that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time, I mean, I don't have any dedicated percussion modules. The Squid I use a bit with samples, and also when I'm feeling like properly cheating, I've got the TR8S. But I don't tend to use it that much. I tend to mainly use filters, resonant, self-oscillating filters. I use ripples a lot as a kick, and just noise through the LPG as kind of a snare. That works pretty well, and the fixed filter bank's great for kind of miscellaneous percussion noises.
The fixed filter bank is something I'm very envious of, and I'm very excited to eventually have space for one. So
it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff I stream, as people have watched, isn't very percussion related anyway. But I do occasionally do a bit, and Pam's is quite good for sequencing, and I like to use marbles with the kind of mini grids made.
That's cool.
But yeah, drum programming is hard, so it's always easy if you get something else to do it for you.
For sure, yeah. But I think there's two distinct problems as well. I mean, there's drum sound design on one side and drum programming on the other side.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The sound design is the most fun to me because I program everything pretty much the same way. But that's my problem. Thinking about it, anytime I have a sound that doesn't necessarily have a clear pitch, like the Atari, punk, console down here, the circle thing, only makes very grating sounds. Like they're not like you probably wouldn't want to listen to them played like a standard synth with a long, decay and things like that. But it makes absolutely sick percussion. So like you can get like all sorts of like Morse Cody sounds or like things like that really like can replace effectively a snare or anything like that. So that's one thing I do pretty regularly to break up the monotony of standard drum brute impact sounds, which I still love. I also have the Rample that I do a lot of drummy percussion-y things with. But I also do a lot of like effects on drums, like if that makes sense. So like instead of like trying to worry about fills, sometimes I'll like put on delay and then you get like immediate fills on things. So that's kind of fun. The data bender on percussion is sick. Exactly what I'm describing, but like more chaotic than a standard delay. Play kick drums in reverse, that kind of thing.
Beads can be pretty fun with percussive sounds as well.
Yes.
Kind of doing beat repeat type stuff with it.
I really like the sample and hold delay on my delay pedal. It like does this kind of repeated chunky thing. It sounds really good with percussion.
Now, like you were saying, Ben, when I want to make like kicks from scratch, I mean, I really like the kick on this thing, so I don't do it as often, but same thing. Usually a very resonant filter does the trick.
Yeah, I find Ripples is great for it because it's got the VCA built into it as well on the low pass. So you only need 2 envelopes really, and one on pitch and one on amplitude, and that's it. You've got a kick already.
Right, and I think if anyone's watching this later and doesn't know how to make drum patches, what you're describing is you really want like a really short, snappy envelope on the pitch, so you can go like up maybe up an octave or even more right away on the pitch, and then down to a lower octave, and that gives you a nice little bit of a transient, and then a separate filter to control or separate envelope to control the filter, which does a nice sort of secondary, slower, open filter.
I actually went ahead and tried this just after the last time we discussed this, and I found out all my filters suck. None of them can do this.
You gotta get gnarlier filters, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I have the wasp filter. That's pretty gnarly, but it doesn't.
Well,
No, it doesn't. Does it self-oscillate? I don't think it does.
it sort of
I
does,
know.
but you can't really control the pitch.
Right.
No.
It's like it's a rough filter, right? Like it's gritty, but it's not like you were saying, Kyle. It's not ideal for drums. Listened to a lot of Wasp demos recently. Goob. I don't know what that means. Southpaw Shorts, but
That's me, by the
welcome.
way. Oh,
Polyvox for the win. Yeah, Polyvox filter, MS10 filter, or MS20, I guess. Those types of filters are the ones I'm familiar with. Those do a killer job with drums. You can get really small ones, I think. Mine are enormous, 20 centimeters wide, which I don't know how many HP that is, but whatever.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I need to replace all my filters at some point soon.
Yeah, and you know what?
That sounds dire or drastic.
I need
I
to
mean-
replace all my
All
filters.
of them.
You
All of
better
them.
shape up, filters.
No, I mean I have the wasp filter, which is cool. I like to put that on a good bass, because it sounds gnarly when you crank the resonance up and do things with that. But I have an ADAC dual filter, which was the first one I got because it allowed me to use it at 2 filters, and that was cheap. It's not very interesting. And then I have the ultra cheap dope for a low pass filter, which is okay, but that's as much as I can say about it.
I haven't tried making drums with the Iker yet. I was just thinking that might be a fun one to make some sort
I
of
want
crazy
that.
stereo drum.
I have not successfully made a filter drum, and I should probably do that.
Like the Iker, it seems
Why
perfect
can't
for
I?
one. Yeah.
I did finally try pinging Ikari last week, and I made a Tim pingy Tim thing. I don't know why I can't like say words today.
I don't even fully understand
A pingy thing
concept
like
of
Tim
pinging?
makes. Yeah, me neither.
Like I understand it at a high level, like because I've seen videos about it. Like there was a really good Heinbach video about it, but I almost all of it is gone from my memory at this point. So I don't know if I do that or not. I can't say. I mean, from what I can tell, you're like sending some sort of trigger, whether it's an audio source or something, into the filter, one of the controls on it to
yeah.
trigger it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's
basically.
CB.
Put it
and
just
it-
on the edge of resonance, like
Right.
tiny little bit of.
Where like any signal will set it off.
Catch my theater. Doc what?
and then you ping either the frequency or resonance, and it will do the thing.
And when you say ping, what do you mean?
Oh, so like a short envelope or like a trigger.
Okay.
Just a very short thing.
Yeah.
Same
That
with,
makes sense.
For I found for low pass gates, the shorter the trigger you send it, the better effect you get. Yeah, same kind of idea.
Cool.
Since we're on the short topic of filters, I just want to talk about mine real quick because it's the build that's really funny because it is 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters, which is enormous. And it's the only PCB I've ever like soldered together where the components are like 3 to 5 centimeters apart because there's so much space in there. Like there's no need to be compact at all on the filter that big.
This is 15 centimeters, which is 6 inches.
6 inches.
Yes.
Roughly.
So it's bigger than this. That's huge.
Yeah, it's this big. Where's the maths for car? I don't know. It's outside.
It's a single filter, just like one, like a normal.
It's an MS-20 filter, and it is a little more complex than that because it's got the cutoff and resonance, right? And then it's got 3 knobs down here. It's basically a 3-input mixer. I think it's a passive mixer, which is really handy. And then there are also 3 control voltage inputs for the filter cutoff knob. Like all 3 go to the cutoff knob. 2 have attenuators, and 1 does not. And it just, that combination is really nice, really handy. Like you can see all 3 of those are populated.
That's something you don't see really on Eurorack so much. That existed a lot on, or 5U or older stuff. Is like multiple inputs for CD or audio. I guess because they have the space.
If you've got space and you can do it, it's really nice because like typically, at least with me, I'm running a lot of I'm running multiple oscillators into each of these types of filters. I also really like being able to essentially mix CV inputs over here by having one be like an envelope, a pretty standard envelope. This one that I attenuate is coming from the saw wave of one of the oscillators, so that I can add like a little bit of grit that way. And then I've got a third one over here that I think this one is the inverse of the... What are you actually? Of another triangle wave. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that one does some pretty crazy lo-fi sounding stuff when I crank that up. Robbie has a question. How often do you send an envelope triggered with every note to a filter versus just set the filter at a single setting and tweak the knob? Ooh, that's a good question.
I usually just slow CV into a filter rather than triggering with every note, which is not an option.
Yeah, that was not an option in the question. Please send all complaints to Robbie.
I was also thinking, are these the only 2 options you have? Because I usually just plug an LFO into the filter and have that.
I think Robbie is sort of asking like how often you manually manipulate the filter versus control it with robot hands.
I do occasionally, but mostly I either have an LFO or my hands. Yeah.
Schwooster says once per day. That's perfect.
When we initially set up the filter. I do a lot of manual overriding of it though. Like I'll turn off the envelope.
Yeah.
I
usually. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I don't often send it to it. I don't often patch it that way, but I do fairly often because that's how it's normal on the live forms. So there's the envelope goes to the filter by default, the filter CV. So I do that sometimes, but generally I don't very often.
I would do that quite a lot. I think use the filter as a VCA effectively.
Yeah.
But like a different, like a VCA that sounds interesting, not just.
Yeah.
I did it a lot when I first got it, but for some reason I've not really done it for ages.
Depends what you want. If you want to do like acid stuff, that's kind of how you do it. Or you might even do it through a couple of filters, like the first one being envelopes on every step, and then another one, getting even more resonance.
Right, and when I'm doing acid stuff, like you can do like this, right? While it's usually pretty typically low, like the cutoff knob's pretty low, and you've got an envelope that's controlling how squidgy it gets, or how open it gets. But I usually have a second input here, which is again really nice to essentially do the acid squidge rotating thing for me.
I really like just adjusting the attenuator instead of adjusting the filter once I have it going, because then I can just use that as the amount of expression I want at that time, instead of trying to sort of modulate anything else.
Yes. And And I love the attenuverter. Like, I'm actually debating ordering more of these because I have two. And I use the heck out of
They're
them. Like, I
super
love the
useful.
sound of it, doing weird stuff, especially inverted signals. Inverted audio signals to the same signal does like cool. Let's see if I got like, do I have anything going? Right, you gotta open it. Okay, so let's figure out this thing. This one's not on for whatever reason, is it? Why am I not hearing any difference? Oh, I gotta push the button. There we go. Yeah, it like almost does like a little bit of phase cancellation. Yeah, that's fun. Anyway, I love attenuverters.
Why doesn't everything have an attenuverter?
I don't know. The good modules do though, with bipolar LEDs.
Yeah.
Yes, like this one.
My Dofer modules has attenuators, but that aren't inverters, which is almost the same, but not quite as useful.
Yeah, I think my 7's got an attenuator, but my 7's playing up at the moment, so
Yeah, it does.
I think all the MI stuff does. Pretty much.
I like it when almost every input has at least an attenuator, and if they have an attenuverter, it's even better.
Wait, Kyle
especially
has
for
no
people.
filters?
At the moment, not in my case at the moment.
That's a travesty.
There's some over there, but not in my case.
Better watch out, Ising's case, or you're next. No filters.
Everyone's finally getting on board with the Schmooster no filter life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Shmoo has filters now, doesn't he?
I
On the
think Schmooster
attenuverter
does.
thing, Beats has like smart attenuverters on it that do different things with nothing
Yes.
plugged in. Is that right? So
Yes.
It routes as random or something when it's.
That's right, yeah. I call them randomizers or something. Yeah, I can never remember exactly what they do, but it's really good if you've not got anything patched into it, because you can just add random.
I mean, I think something that so the classic thing with people like underusing clouds in terms of not modulating it, just setting it to good and then using it. So this time she's like, I'm going to give you all the additional stuff you need to use this effect how I think you should use it. So you don't have to have other modules. You just like here's some random. You have to use it pretty much. Or it's there by default, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's really, really handy.
I've noticed some of the better Eurorack modules I have are very cleverly designed because space is a concern. Where there's usually a knob or two that once you've plugged in something into that CV input, that knob that goes and changes into an attenuator or an attenuverter, which is always really nice and appreciated.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
really
have
like-
one complaint about that actually. I've seen that on a lot of MI modules, where you have the FM, for example, in Platts, you have the FM attenuverter, which is also the fine tune.
Oh,
Yeah.
And is weird, I think,
That
because
is
that means
weird.
if I plug something into FM and I want to attenuate that, it messes up my fine tuning.
Yeah, my way around that is I use that as my base and tune everything to Platts, so I don't have to do the fine tune on Platts.
Right.
So that's my root note or whatever, and yeah, I tune everything to Platts. But it's digital, so it's generally in tune anyway.
Compared to what?
Well, as
Whatever
long
you
as you,
decided your thing
Yeah.
is in.
Yeah.
as long as you use, a reference, and that's my reference. So I don't. Yeah, but it is a bit weird how it behaves, because the others don't have any impact when there's nothing patched in, as far as I remember.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
On the interstellar radio, it's kind of neat because if you don't have anything going in and you're just doing like a self patch, the signal in FM's the two like carrier and modulator, demodular.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's clever. I think.
That's cool. Robbie has a good point, sort of saying how if a module is well designed enough, people tend to not use CV with it, but then everybody uses it the same way. And I don't have any problem with that, actually. I think having beautiful defaults is great, and fine. That way, people like us crazies will then go in and do all the stuff with the CVs. And, well, actually, I say us, but Schmooster is really...
We're fancy.
Yeah, we're getting fancy with it, right? Like, it's beautiful already, and then you're getting fancy with it after that. I don't know. I think there's just... It's nice to be predictable and quick when you're patching something, so having modules that just sound good with minimal setup is great. I've seen a lot of folks talking about, I think it's rings that, or maybe it's plats that not requires, but does even better when it's pinged, and folks tend to not. I can't remember which one. I don't have any actual mutable instruments modules, so I'm just speaking of what I've read, but it's sort of designed to be pinged.
I'm a huge user of both plats and rings and clouds, and I tend to use them pretty much by default. I mean, clouds need some randomness to be interesting, I feel, but rings I have no problem with using with very minimal CV input. It's just because it sounds really good. It's. I mean, sure, there's a lot of people who have the same sound, but this is my patch. It's my decision.
Yeah, I think it's weird when people say, "Well, this module always sounds like that," because but people play guitars and they all sound like guitars. I don't really.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
One of the shows I saw this summer at Prairie Wires, the person was like so good with rings, and I could tell it was rings, and I did not care. Like, it's amazing.
Well, yeah, if it sounds good, it sounds good. It doesn't matter how you're making it.
Right, like somebody playing an ambient guitar session with lots of reverb is going to sound very similar to somebody else playing an ambient guitar session with lots of reverb. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy them both equally, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're going to have their own idiosyncrasies, etc.
Exactly.
Someone asked a good question. Let's see, where was it? Enthusiastic Electrons. An argument for crammed nano modules. They demand CV. And the reason I liked that comment is because we talked briefly about, like, I think it's in the topics, like an entire case of 1U modules, which the more I think about, the more it makes me laugh.
You'll need a lot of power headers.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's got a case of all 2 HP. It's like a pretty big.
Yeah.
Masochism.
But
it's,
2HP designed it that way, right? You could buy the two. No, that's the Pico system. I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Well, 2HP is
kind of the same thing, right? Just
sell.
1U less.
You can't. I don't think you can fit sockets on one HP. I think
you could. You would have to have a panel next to it that had like enough overlay. Yeah, maybe not.
I mean, one HP's 5.
Like the PCB would have to go out, and the socket would have to go sideways. I think it'd have to be fairly deep.
Yeah. You could do it, but just don't do it.
What I went to say was 1U modules, not 1 HP.
1U, yeah. Correct.
Yeah, but I mean,
modules that would be, yeah.
I've seen some theory crafting on sort of potential 1U only systems that have been sort of cohesive, but it only works if you can mix IntelliGel standard with Synthetech standard for now. But we're getting very close to sort of a really cohesive 1U system with only one standard.
The endorphins 1U stuff opens up quite a lot of options.
It does, yeah.
All of their newer ones are going to be 1U. So the Milky Way, Golden Master, both a bunch of them. But they're pretty big. They're kind of
they're sort of rotated almost.
Yeah, essentially they're just turned to the side. That gives you some more options because a lot of the IntelliGel stuff is kind of like mults. Or,
Yeah.
They do have a few more interesting ones, but they're pretty hard to get at the moment.
And that's typically what I see in one U. Is
Mosaic
like,
has a lot of new ones now. Has a new batch of ones coming out with some oscillators, which makes it quite interesting all of a sudden.
They have like, yeah, you could probably do a full thing with Mosaic and Ritual now.
Oh, Ritual, yeah, of course. Ritual does 3 1U modules, I want to say. Guillotine 0.2 is in flexibility. I don't know what they do, but
the Guillotine is a stereo distortion, and it has a really nice knob. It has a nicer knob than any of my other modules, and it's a tile.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a thing from Zodies, which is like a 3U to 1U adapter, which is pretty cool. So you could do like an 84 HP 3 times 1U system thing. If you want to.
I saw that photo of one of those systems, and I got so confused trying to figure out which way the adapters were.
Yeah.
It's like seems like it still takes a lot of planning to figure that out if you're going to build one.
It'd be a nightmare. I was joking earlier about making a case this size that's just 1U rows, and I think it would just be an absolute nightmare to try to populate. But it would probably turn into like.
I could really imagine sort of a small 1U only system for like performance. It's like a cool little tiny monosynth with infinite patchability. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it would be similar to a lunchbox, right? Like the 2 HP lunchbox, where they just like slightly different shape and format. And those are super appealing to me, like the lunchbox format and size, but like once I put the cat next to the catnip, I was like, oh, I don't know that I could like handle an entire 2 HP system. That'd be a bit rough, I think.
Yeah.
But
I've got a little 42 HP case that's USB powered, which is great.
Because that's super cool.
Need a battery pack, and you can walk around with it. Pretty cool. And with the new Winter Bloom speaker module, you wouldn't even need headphones. You could literally, take it anywhere, completely wirelessly. Just
annoy everyone on the bus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a Norwegian who designed a speaker module as well. It usually pops up on the classifieds here. It's called the Ding Dong XL, and I think that's the best name for a speaker module ever.
I like that very much.
We were talking on the Winter Bloom Discord about a really odd idea of using induction charging for modules rather than power cables. Right? So you know how you get these little pads you put your phone onto?
Yeah.
Like that, and using magnets, so you can literally hot swap modules.
That would be really nice. That would be a significant improvement.
Yeah. There's a guy on there who's looking into it as an option, see if that is like actually viable.
It would be nice to also have the option of like, a couple of screw holes on the panel too. But like, I love the idea. Just if you have a travel case, magnets don't always.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it would be like it would be a new format. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So.
I think that would be really cool because I actually really don't like the ribbon cable's current format, particularly when you're looking at smaller modules like the 2 HP and you get like these crazy daisy chains or whatever.
It can be difficult to install stuff into a case. I usually end up using longer power cables than I need and have the modules like hanging out until they're all plugged in, and then put them in place and screw them in.
Yeah, and mine typically are pretty long. I mean, this is the range of size that I tend to make cables. Like one is.
Well, your case is like really stupid deep.
Yeah, and
Your case.
it is a big case, and the thing is about bus boards, it's just sort of designed for Eurorack, which is more condensed.
Yeah.
I'm using Eurorack bus boards effectively, right? Which means I've got like a spot behind here and maybe a spot behind here, and those need to reach the ends, so that's why I have really long cables. But yeah, I'm also gonna. That was another thing I thought of yesterday when I was building the. For those of you who haven't seen the photos, I started putting together the Eurorack case I'm building, and I thought like, oh, geez, I'm gonna have to make a lot of cables, aren't I? Not looking forward to that. So, because I think almost all of the cables that come with, like, I have a whole drawer of these cables that come with, your Eurorack modules. And they're all so short. Some are very short.
Oh yeah, yesterday I was fiddling with my case and I ended up getting Nelson to just make me a really long cable because he happened to be at his desk. It was very convenient.
Right, like this is a fairly long cable if you have a shallow case. But if a case is 20 centimeters deep,
yeah.
It is worth getting like some ribbon cable and some of the headers.
Yeah.
So from eBay it will cost you like 10 quid.
Yeah, and that's what I do. I just get the actual connectors from Tata at this point, which is a little less expensive, but I just make them in bulk effectively.
Yeah.
I do have new cables. I'll coming back to that. But if you haven't made cables, I'm happy to like one-on-one or help you through it. It's super easy. You can make them much longer and less limiting if you want. You can make flying bus boards really easily. And all you really need is like a pair of pliers, or if you have a vise, it's a little easier. And it's super cheap, so definitely
My
make
solution
your own.
was just to get more bus boards in my case. So there's always going to be a socket close to the module wherever it was.
Yeah, so that's how I'm laying out this other one. There's going to be 6 bus boards, which is well beyond anything I've made so far. That's like the entirety of my bus board. Yeah, no, I only have 5 in this system, so. But I did get some patch cables. From Bartok, actually, from Patchwork Cables. They arrived yesterday or the day before, and I am super fired up about them. Like,
they are such nice cables, huh?
Yeah, and Bartok sent me one of these like cable tie things or a few of these, but like they, I'm just gonna take it off now because I'm never gonna use it. At least not for this. But when I sent him that red phone that I made for him, turned into a microphone, I sent a little bit of a slice of one of my cables to color match, and they're pretty close. Like they're great. Let's see here. This is the important bit. Silver heads. They look like 1/4-inch cables, just smaller. They are that nylon coating, I think, and yeah, very much appreciate it. Haven't tested any of them out yet, though. I'm sure they're fine. Bartok does a good job.
Yeah, making cables is something I did for a while, but then it's so boring.
Making cables? It's actually, for anyone who's not made it, oh my gosh, they just go in? Okay. It's tedious. It takes a lot more time and effort than you would expect.
Yeah. And you will always forget to put the little like sleeve on.
Yes. So let's see. I haven't taken these apart yet. Let's do that right now just to see what these look like. I apologize, Bartok. I expect perfect soldering. So if you haven't put together cables, there's a few components. Actually, I'm going to switch cameras because I think the light's slightly better, maybe. I don't know. The shrink wrap bit actually has 2 connectors, the ground and the signal. And then you have this little plastic sleeve here and this sleeve here. And if you've forgotten to put these on before you solder this, you have to basically unsolder and start over. And I've done that many, many times.
Yep. Yeah.
These are really well done, actually.
Speaking of cables as well, I posted on the chat earlier this week. I had to arrange all of the tendrils cables into like storage boxes. And
Yeah.
there's so many. It's ridiculous. He actually emailed us saying, "Do you want to do more colors?" And we're like, "No, no, more colors." There's already, what is it, 11 colors and 7 lengths per color, and straight ones and quarter-inch ones, and it's like so many. Yeah. I calculated there's something like 100,000 cables in that, row of boxes.
That's so many. I mean, I ordered, I don't know, 20 or something, but geez, that's so many cables.
Yeah.
And some of these are really long. These are great. That's the thing about large format stuff, is like sometimes I need to go like across cases or like up there, and these will be great. So I'm excited.
Tip Top makes is it a 3.5 meter stackable, I think.
Yes, and I also have even longer. Bafako, I think, makes the longest of the cables that I saw, with some that are like they go across the room, sort of.
Yeah. I don't know who would need a 3.5 meter long stackable. I don't know what that's for.
I can tell you actually. It's for people like me, right? Like, I've got a micro freak here and a system over there, and I want them to talk, right? I don't have any counter space like next to my.
On a stackable one?
Yeah.
It's got
I have wanted
CV,
a stackable that long several times.
I don't have any stackables yet, so I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I've only ever used,
I've got some of these guys, but yeah, I don't have any stackables.
I actually want some of those split stackables. I don't know what they're called, where it's sort of like a stackable, but
the Hosa makes cables that split.
Not that
Hopscotch.
Hopscotch. Yes, hopscotch is what I'm talking about. It's not a huge deal with these Eurorack cables to have them stacked, but I just feel like the more, like, I'm pretty clumsy, the more they're stacked like on top of each other. If I bump it, there's more leverage to potentially break the socket. So
I have these Modular Addict ones that I think you can still get, but they were kind of shut down by Tip Top.
yeah.
But yeah, these ones are much taller than a stackable. So you can only really go like too high with these before you're getting like quite unwieldy on a case. With stackables you can do 3 and it's still kind of usable.
That's cool. Robbie's talking about power issue. 40 sockets for 300 HP, and it's just barely enough. I have a lot of small modules, and if you populate everything, you might have power issues. Yeah, so the reason, after talking to Bartok, I purchased this latest power supply for Eurorack is because I am so tired of power supply issues that there will be 10 amps plus and minus. It's going to be fine. Not running out. Might run out of sockets. We'll see, but I can do a flying bus board if I need to.
Yeah. There was talk earlier of like the solid bus bar kind of style power system that Colin Denver uses.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Whether that's a good idea or not. And I would say no, but there's just like on Mod Wiggler, there's a like constant argument over like bus boards are better, no, bus bars are better. It's just, I think if you want like super clean power, don't use Eurorack. If you want no noise in your system, don't use Eurorack, because
and there's a lot more to it. Yeah, there's a lot to it. The way you split up your bus boards, like if I've got one power supply that's in 2 bus boards, right?
Oh no.
Oh no.
We lost tech.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You froze.
Am I back yet?
You're back.
You're
back.
Yeah.
Yes, cool. What was the last thing I
You
did?
said if I got a bus bar and you had your hands up like this.
If I have 4 bus boards, you don't want them to be in series, right? So that last bus board will not get enough power if you populate it, like that kind of thing. But I don't know. It's just going to be noisy. It's how it is. It's not. If you really want to see how much noise is in your system, get a distortion module or distortion pedal and turn it on and listen.
But I kind of feel that those people who need that bus bar system, they are playing a different instrument than I am.
Yeah.
They have some
Yeah.
requirements I don't have, and they have some resources that I don't have access to, and I don't want to
Yeah.
have to make my own cables. I don't want that as a requirement. It's nice to be able to do, but I don't want that to be my requirement in order to install a new model.
Is that bus
Yeah.
bar? Is that the bus bar system? Is that what Colin Benders was using on his latest
Yes.
build?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looked
The super jank
extremely
Express
over-engineered,
thing.
but cool.
Yeah, I mean, Colin obviously has a system that's, levels of magnitude different to what most of us are using, so his requirements are going to be pretty different.
Yeah. And it's his job, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like running that system and doing, he does a educational course now, I think, as well.
And if you look at that system, like it's actually fairly reasonable. Like I think it is. Was it a bunch of Meanwell power supplies plus the bus bars?
No, it's a system by a guy in the UK who I can't remember.
Yeah.
Is it Steve Hilton?
Yeah.
Something,
Yeah.
Hilton,
But,
something like that.
For what it is, it's good. I did not envy, like looking at making those cables looked like a nightmare.
Yeah, it did.
Really, just straight up nightmare. Versus making the power cables we have is super fast.
And you don't need to. I mean, you can just use the ones that are shipped with the product.
Why?
Yeah. Well, I like my rainbow cables a lot. Even though I did the colors backwards, but they're all backwards, so it's fine. And they're keyed, so yeah. I think when I make Eurorack cables for the Eurorack box, I might actually do non-rainbow cables, like standard gray and boring ones, just because a lot of the Eurorack modules don't have shrouded headers, which is unforgivable.
Some modules do come with like non-standard power cables. The Rapid Elephant stuff was like.
Yeah. Yes.
And the
Which is-
Doppler stuff with the really pale peach colored red stripe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some have. I've seen ones with blue stripes before, but
Yeah.
it's like it's fine, but if you're not
Yeah.
super confident in your power usage stuff, that needs else being like it's the same.
I mean, straight up, like I'm very confident in my cables and power supplies and stuff, and every time I get to like maths or one that doesn't have a shrouded header, and yeah, they have the red stripe label. I always double check the manual. It's just every time. One last thing before I go, because it's been about an hour, is I got this new guitar pedal that I'm really excited about, the Triple Graph. That will probably make it into my synth.
Full screen?
What was that?
Full screen yourself. So we
Oh
look at it.
yeah, because I'm tiny, huh? Full screen and camera switch maybe. Triple graph. First of all, black and yellow plus. Second of all, octave up, octave down. I can change this switch here for each of these so that they're either momentary or they lock on and off like a normal guitar pedal. And then the middle will do a couple things. It's got to send and return, so it can send to other pedals or other wherever, and temporarily go to that signal, which is really fun with distortion. Or I can, in another mode, it'll just play whichever one of these is active, so it'll cut out the original signal. But it does some really fun, like whammy pedal-like stuff. Anyway, I'm really excited for this. I'm going to be playing with that on my modular soon. I just think it's a cool pedal. Like, come on, I like telegraphs. It's very clicky.
Those are good buttons.
Really good buttons. Really satisfying. And unlike the standard guitar pedal buttons, it doesn't hurt my feet when I don't wear any shoes.
Are those like custom things?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think they custom machined. Like, I'll look at this again. Sorry, I forgot to switch camera, but like I think they custom machined this whole thing because like these plates are aluminum. These are aluminum pieces. I think maybe steel. They're kind of flexy, so I'm thinking aluminum. And then some adjustments for it, but
Crazy.
Super nice.
And it's an octave switch.
Yeah. Yeah, octave up, octave down, send return, or it'll cut out the original sound source, and so you'll just hear either octave up or octave down or both,
Cool.
which is pretty fun. Super hungry, thirsty,
Good.
whatever.
As far as I know, an octave pedal in Eurorack. Unless I'm
Yeah, I did a really quick test yesterday. Let me unbig myself in Smullen. I did a quick test and it sounded really, really good. I also did a test with another pedal, which I'm just gonna wait to stream because it's super cool. So it does sound really cool. Like I haven't played with that on Eurorack at all.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows of like audio octave changer mod.
Like I guess there would be like the closest I can think of are like the modules that do pitch shifting, right? Like you could set it to an octave, maybe.
Yeah.
Like a precision adder?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that only works in CV. Like
Yeah,
you-
that's
if you want
CV, something that does audio.
So you want a frequency shifter, basically.
Right.
Right, yeah.
And I think, I mean, the FX8 has that as part of it, if
Yeah.
its effect kit.
I think you can do it with clouds, can't you?
You can
Oh,
do it
that's
with
true,
clouds
yeah.
on the granular stuff. But
Yeah.
that's not a pure frequency shifter.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
effect part of it.
Surprised no one's just taken like the boss pedal and just like stuck that in Eurorack.
Right, and there's that module that I'm forgetting the name of that has the 4 big white buttons. Something performer. The
I know what you mean.
Modbap?
It's called the
Performer,
Performer.
Yeah. Something like that would be, I think, primo for like octave switching, like going up 1, 2, or down 1 and 2. Like something in that format would be super fun. Because it has a sound. It's almost like a alien chorus. Like it doesn't. It's cool.
Boss bow tie is a CV. That's a add-in, right?
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Yeah. So it is Modbap. See, I'm getting better at names and stuff. All right. I don't want to go too much longer. Thank you all for showing. We actually have a special guest performing on the way out today. Wait, do we?
I suppose so.
Yes! Yes, Ising is going to perform.
This is the part where I act really surprised that it's me again.
And if it's really good, I will send Ising some things to level
Oh.
that stand. It'll cost me like $12 in shipping
Yeah,
or something
not
for a
sure
piece
that's
of wood.
Unwise shipping costs, but sometimes you just need to mail a whole thing of gummy vampire teeth to somebody. I've done that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, have a good weekend, y'all. Let me know when you're ready, Ising, and you'll play us out. So you switch that and do this. Yes! This sounds so good. Ising, you could probably crank it just a
Yeah,
bit.
crank.
It was good before. Yeah! This is the Ising show now. This is the Ising on the cake at the end of the show. That pun was entirely for you, Tim, when you watch this later.
I think Tim was in the chat. Okay, we had heavy breathing for the intro. Should we do like sparkly jazz hands?